I might put him in Potomac. Okay, yes. Yeah, he can come right on to Potomac.
Skye Squad, guess what? We're back in the building. Yes. And today we're here with someone who has been in the business a very, very long time. I mean, like, is an expert in the field of pop culture, reality television, everything that kind of goes on in the world of celebrity news and entertainment. Monica's at the center of it. She knows about it. She might not be in it, but she knows. She knows. And I have been wanting to have this dialogue with her for quite some time because I'm always interested in, and we talk about it a little bit, you know, on the regular version of this show, how people get away with scandal, like how it works. And so I thought, who better than to have that conversation with than Monica from All About the Tea. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Good. Now, the cool thing is, I just want to acknowledge something. Monica, you have been just such a great support system since I first started my journey on YouTube. As a sort of solo person or a solo, I guess, I don't want to call myself expert, but just like doing this on my own. So I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I would call you an expert. I mean, like you said, I started watching your videos from day one and I was blown away, right? First by your beauty, because you're just gorgeous to look at, right?
Thank you.
And then I was just impressed with your delivery and the products that you were putting out, the video content and the consistency. Completely blown away. And I could not do anything but support, reach out, give advice, whatever I could do, you know? And you were just so warm and receptive, and we forged a friendship, and I'm just so happy about that.
Me too. And I just thank you for being just a genuine, just a light. And you know what's funny is, and I'm going to segue a little bit because I want to get your thoughts about a couple of different little hot topics and then some other things. You know, the way I started this whole situation was that I wanted to be here 5 days a week. I said, if Wendy Williams is here 5 days a week, so will I. And lo and behold, Wendy Williams stopped being there 5 days a week. She started going through her own, you know, personal struggles and whatnot, and it happens to the best of us as we go through life. And so I do want to touch on Wendy Williams, but I also want to touch on how you got started.
Oh, okay.
Just take us back to where it all began, you know, with All About the Tea.
Way back. All right, well, let's go back there. So how I got started was back in 2008. I worked as an executive, believe it or not, in corporate America. And then the market collapsed and I got laid off. I was a casualty of the market going south. And that's when I started watching reality TV, because prior to that, I was just always so busy with work and bringing work home. I never really watched TV besides the news. So I got laid off and I had nothing else to do. I got laid off and I just started watching TV. I became a couch potato and I started binge watching Housewives. That was my favorite, right? Then Love and Hip Hop, Survivor, Amazing Race. I mean, I dived deep into it. And then I became fascinated by it and addicted, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, my friend circle introduced me to the blogs, and that was a whole new world, right? Not only could I watch these shows that I love so much, but then I had a community of people I could communicate my thoughts about these shows with. And I guess I was so opinionated my friend circle said, why don't you start your own blog? You would be good at that. And I'm like, me, my blog? Nah. So I played around with the idea for a little bit. And I said, you know what? Why not? Let me just give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And with $24 back in, 2000 and what, I think 13 or something, I started my own blog. And that's what we have today. It's called allaboutthetea.com. And I was lucky enough when I first launched to have a friend that worked for the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Yeah, I had a friend in production that worked with those ladies. And that's where I was getting a lot of my exclusives and a lot of my tea from that person. And that really catapulted the blog. And it became like, everyone started talking about all about the tea. And it also got me in a lot of trouble because then I was accused of being Jacqueline LaRita.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. People wrote blogs about it. Because I had such inside tea about the Manzos and that family and Teresa and all the people, I was accused of being Jacqueline LaRita or a cousin, a close family member to the Manzos. People literally wrote blogs about it. It was the talk of the town. It was the talk of the blog community. It was so funny. And
Wow.
I was publishing Real Housewives of New Jersey exclusive after exclusive. And even the network, Bravo, reached out to me, someone from the network, and they were like demanding who was my source. Of course, I never give up my sources. Never, ever, ever give up your sources. So that's pretty much how All About the Tea became. That's how we started.
To have, I guess, such close ties to that particular franchise during that particular time,
yeah,
is like, because I think at that point, like it was Jersey and Atlanta, like Jersey was lit.
Yes. It was explosive, right? Exactly.
And so I can only imagine.
Yeah. Someone said they traced my IP and that they confirmed. They wrote a whole blog. They traced my IP and confirmed that I either I'm Jacqueline or I live in Jacqueline's house. I'm a cousin. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. It was insane. Mm-hmm.
It was that serious.
It was that serious, honey. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
So what were like the scandals that were popping at that moment, during that period of time? Like, was there anything that stands out to you as you go back down memory lane?
There was just so many. At the time, Dina had fell out with the whole family, pretty much. All of her sisters. Caroline, she wasn't talking to the sister-in-law, Jacqueline. So I had all that tea, basically, of why, she was really mad at them because they wouldn't quit the show. You see, what happened was her daughter, Lexi, is not a Manzo, right? Lexi's dad is a Greek guy, Greek business person. Mm-hmm. And he did not sign off for Lexi to be on the show. So, yep. And Danielle found out, and Danielle was kind of threatening. She went back and told the network. Yeah. And they said, what she told the network was that Dina forged the ex-husband's signature to allow Lexi to film. So when they found that out and they confirmed it was true, they had to kick Lexi off. So that was a big scandal that I put out. They had to kick Lexi and Dina off, and Dina got upset with her sister, Caroline, and her sister-in-law, Jacqueline, because they wouldn't quit the show. So she stopped talking to them. And there was a big internal family war of secrets. I also broke the story about Dina sleeping with that married man, who's now her husband, I might add. Dave Canton, a businessman from New Jersey. But yeah, he was married at the time, so I broke that story. I also broke the story of those twins that were on the season with Jim Marchese?
Yeah.
Right. One of the twins' mother was sleeping with one of the twins' husband, or had slept with him. So I broke that story. That was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah.
The funny thing about it, I'm laughing because, I watched the show. Some of these things I never even knew.
Oh yeah.
Like the Dina thing with Danielle, I didn't know. Because let's say as a viewer at that time, you're watching the show, we don't understand what the role Dina has with everyone here.
Right. No one knew because social media wasn't as big as it is today, right?
Right.
Now, blogging has become a lot different because of social media. I mean, the information is being poured out like it's water, like as if it's seconds, right? As the seconds go by, as soon as something happens, it's on social media. Back then, it was mainly the blogs. People weren't really on Twitter that much. There was no Instagram. They hardly used Facebook. So yeah, everything came through the blogs. And if you missed it or you missed it in the blogs, it wasn't on the show. It was really in the blogs. People didn't know. This was off-camera tea. So she was feuding with her sister. She stopped speaking to them because of this and then made up a bunch of lies about them, why she didn't like them. And then when they fell out with Teresa, she kind of went and cozied up to Teresa. It was so much drama.
Wow. You mentioned something about the difference between sort of blogging then and the way things kind of trickle out via social media now. Do you think that the way things sort of get leaked now, and I don't know if it's purposeful, and maybe you can touch on that, maybe if it's purposeful or if it's just happening because everybody has their phones and we can see stuff happening as it's being filmed. Does it help the shows or does it hurt the shows before they come out?
I think both. For the network, from their standpoint, they would consider it hurting the show because the storyline has been spilled, right? By people like me or, people on social media that might hear something. So they don't like it. Well, they also have to keep in mind too that ratings are down from where they used to be. So any kind of advertisement, any kind of prodding, any kind of, dropping little breadcrumbs here and there, in my opinion, from my standpoint, it helps. But they don't like it. They hate it. They hate when that happens.
It's interesting though, because I feel like now we typically see I feel like a couple of years ago, we would never have seen photos of the cast as they were filming the show. But I feel like now we have begun seeing New York when they're filming, what I'm saying? Like we're starting to see these things more. Why do you think that happens?
And some of it's being leaked by the network as well. Little things. The network's not going to give away a whole storyline, right, to the public, but they do want to pique people's interest. They want to keep you interested, letting you know, yes, filming is going on. And look, Ramona may have been fighting with Sonia at this restaurant. Tune in, upcoming kind of deal. They want to pique your interest. So I think that's why they're doing stuff like that. Like that video with Tamra. Remember when Tamra exposed on camera to Shannon that Kelly Dodd pushed her mother down the flight of stairs? Now that's a blog, an exclusive I had put out, I don't know, a year ago before she said it on camera. But they're dropping little gems like that because they want to keep people's interest piqued. Ratings are going down.
I think it's actually smart. I mean, it actually, I'm sort of shocked that they haven't sort of partnered with blogs on some level to sort of put that little bit of information out there, not necessarily giving away storylines, but just to give the information so that it's, it creates excitement for when the show's not on the air.
Absolutely. Well, they do that with big like People Magazine and Us Weekly.
Gotcha.
They give them a photo or two or a whisper, something about, a remote part of the storyline, but they're not going to give the whole thing away. That's why I'm always in trouble with Bravo, because I get the storyline and it's my job to put it out there.
You know, one of the things that and you kind of mentioned something there that I felt like the Kardashians said, or it might have been Kris Jenner, somebody said it. I felt like, you know, there's no need for the Kardashians to have a show anymore because everything that they do, it's already put out there on social media.
Right.
So with that being said, I kind of want to do a little bit of a segue into Kardashian land mixed with a hint of Beverly Hills, because we did see, you know, Scott Disick being pictured with Amelia Hamlin. Scott Disick is what, 37? Amelia is 19. Thoughts on this? Like, I think we're going to see it on the show on Beverly Hills. What are your thoughts about this? Because it almost seems like they were press photos almost. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Well, first of all, I found it kind of creepy.
Same.
You know, because I mean, I know she's legal, right? And they're both legally adults and they can do what they want. But come on. I mean, he's, you know, almost twice her age, right? So it's just too much. But I think it was definitely a setup. I think we might see it on the show. I think Lisa Rinna needs a storyline. The Kardashians are over with. So, I mean, they definitely don't need it for that show. But Kris Jenner and Lisa Rinna are good friends. So it seemed very orchestrated, didn't it? It felt that way to me.
Something seems fishy here.
That's exactly how I was looking at it too. I was just like, somebody needs a storyline. This might be something Lisa Rinna could, you know, use.
You know, I know that, and a lot of people may not realize this, and a lot of people may, but, you know, and a lot of times in this line of work, you know, in both your world, and I guess maybe a little bit in my world as well, you end up sort of making connections with different people who are on different shows. And it's not anything that's planned. In most cases, it's completely organic. Like, you know, I don't know how this happened, but now we're cool, right? Is there, from your perspective, pressure to bring, like, on behalf of like do certain stars feel the pressure of bringing a storyline each season? Is that a prevalent thing?
It's a job description. You have to. And it has to be one of drama or, you know, controversy or of some sort. They don't want a boring storyline. Or reality TV is not organic anymore. It's not in the days of The Real World season 1. Remember that?
Right.
It was just a camera crew or someone with a phone following camera phone following some college kids around. It's not like that anymore. It's not organic. Everything is orchestrated. Everything's planned. The storylines are discussed far in advance of them taping, because they want to know specifically what you're going to be bringing on camera, and it needs to involve a little drama.
How often do you think it is? Because my experience, and I can only speak from my own experience on Stripped and on Bravo, I didn't have a pre-planned anything. I just think that what actually happened, or it just may be that I'm a little bit more dramatic than what I realized. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I didn't go into it with anything other than I had to live things in my life that I had going on. I did have a lot going on, but I had just made a decision consciously at the beginning of that process. I'm just going to live, and whatever they capture is whatever they're going to capture. Do you think that there's a large percentage of reality stars that go into it like that anymore?
No, absolutely not. I mean, these cast members are in alliances. The people that they're in alliances with, they talk to, they have conversations with leading up to filming. They conspire, they scheme. No, nothing's organic anymore. They don't go into, especially the seasoned housewives, right? And the seasoned reality stars like Love and Hip Hop stars and those people like Yandy and those people, they don't go into it just, willy-nilly. Everything's orchestrated, everything's planned, all the drama, everything is all planned ahead of time.
Does that take away something though?
Yeah, definitely. I will say reality television has lost something. It's just not there anymore. The Housewives shows are not the same, right? Don't you feel it? It's just not the same.
I feel like even with Salt Lake City, I kind of want to touch on that. It feels like some things are contrived and then some things are a breath of fresh air. I'll use Heather Gay. Heather Gay seems, she reads authentic to me on the screen. I'm sure there's some things that are, set up. You have to do that in order to get the scene or to get something out of them. But I feel like she comes in pretty fresh. But then some people, I don't necessarily feel like they're as refreshing. But one person that I feel like I was really interested in, and I know that you have a little bit more information about, is Mary Cosby. Now, for those who don't know, Mary is the character or the person on the show who married her grandfather. Can I be very honest with you?
Yes, please.
I am so obsessed / intrigued with Mary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anybody that's crazy like that, with a story like that, that's my favorite. Mary is my favorite. I am just loving her. She's a breath of fresh air for me, for reality television, because we're so used to everyone coming in as robots, having watched other, series and stuff, and just mimicking what they've seen. No, ma'am. This is a whole nother breed, Miss Mary and her husband, Bobby. And I think it was a bang, that first episode, right? That premiere episode.
It was.
Coming in, talking about her grandmother willed her to marry the grandmother's husband. And then her husband, Bobby, chuckled. Did you notice that when she said it? He chuckled like, girl, okay, I'm gonna roll with it, But yeah, oh my gosh. And Mary used to look like she has a Michael Jackson syndrome. She was a whole different color, complexion. And now she's light-skinned. So
I saw some older photos. There's a whole Reddit thing about you emailed me the article about the stuff going on with the church. Can you give us a little bit of detail about that for people who don't necessarily know the full thing?
Okay. So Mary, just like Richie said, Mary Cosby married her step grandfather, okay, who was married to her grandmother. And her grandmother passed away at 66 under suspicious circumstances. Everyone said she was healthy. And one of the grandmother's daughters accused the husband of killing her somehow, They had her body exhumed. There was an investigation. Yeah, they said that, and some funds were missing and transferred and moved all around after her death, because she had a big estate, right? Her estate was valued at millions, right? But Bobby's now claiming there is no money. But anyway, so Mary Cosby, who's on the show, was married before. And Bishop Bobby, who's her husband now, her step-grandfather, kicked Mary's husband out of the church and had his eyes set on her. The rumor is Mary and the grandfather were messing around even while her grandmother was alive. Yeah, before the grandmother even passed, the granddaughter was messing around with the step-grandfather. I know, this is crazy. So Mary had a husband before she married Bishop. A year after the death of her grandmother, his name is Dana. Okay. Yep. Bishop would be preaching and telling all the women in the church that they better leave him alone and not try to get with him. But meanwhile, he was getting with his step granddaughter. Yeah.
You can't even make this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
She gives me Kim Richards vibes on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, she does too.
And what I like about her is it feels very old school Housewives to me, where she's just being her. Like, it's somewhat inappropriate. Like,
right. Yeah.
But you're fascinated. She has her own quirky sense of style, and there is this wild, scandalous backstory that's just like, and she's just on camera like, just digest it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued and glued in. She's fascinating to me. Just watching her, like you said, she's being herself. Apparently, she's not pretending to be or mimicking any other housewife. She's not Nene. She's not anyone else but herself. And it's bizarre, right? I'm just so hooked on it, right? The funny part about it, too, is while there was whispering in the church that Mary and Bishop Bobby, was fooling around, he would be up at the pulpit preaching and telling the congregation to quit gossiping. Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta ask a question. In the premiere, she's fighting with Jen about a hospital smell, and she goes back in time to remember this period of time where she was in the hospital, and she almost apparently was lost because she was having her odor glands removed.
Is that even possible?
I have never heard of that. I've never heard of that before. And I just wonder, because some of the articles out there have alleged that it was plastic surgery, which is what led her to her hospital stay, and not that.
I don't even know if she was in the hospital. Her and Bishop Bobby disappeared from the church for 3 full years. And he would be calling back in when they have like church meetings, telling the church that they need to send them more money and more money. And she was on her deathbed, according to him, and that she was so sick that it changed her color from dark to light. Right? Yeah. And then they resurfaced 3 years later, and she was light-skinned, the light-skinned Michael Jackson. So I don't even know. I think she was just off someplace having a lot of work done, recuperating and collecting money. It could have been complications from the plastic surgery because, I mean, some extensive work was done, right? She got an overhaul.
It's a dramatic change.
Dramatic, yeah. To say the least. It's fascinating. I just love it. She's my favorite. I'm telling you, I'm glued to this show.
I can't get enough of it, honestly. I think and even as I get done with this, I'm gonna go watch it again. Because I'm so interested in her life and these other ladies' lives, and I just feel like we're just really starting to peel back the onion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now that they're on the show, more things are gonna come pouring out. You wait and see.
I gotta ask, and I think, you had made, I know that because I told you that I was not going to be watching OC because of Kelly Dodd.
Right.
I just kind of want to get your thoughts about this. Do you think that the network will do anything about her? And then do you think that they need to bring some OGs back? Because that's what I'm hearing is happening.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm hearing that too. But I know for a fact right now, I was told by a former cast member that they went to production or producers and said, why are you keeping her around? She's racist. She's a misogynist. She's just totally disgusting. Why do you have her? Why won't you fire her? And I was told, the producer told this former cast member, stop picking on her. You've done things too that weren't right, and we've had your back. Just leave her alone and stop picking on her. So it seems from that story that I was told, there is no intention to remove her. And as long as she's on that show, I will not support it. I don't want to recap it. We don't do the recaps on my panel. I just don't want any parts of it, because I used to speak to her brother every day for 3 months straight. Eric Meza, him and I would talk all the time. And this is when Eric and Kelly Dodd were feuding. And he was spilling all these secrets to me. He said she used the N-word regularly, that she's racist. This is what her brother, her blood brother, told me. So yeah, I want no parts of Kelly Dodd or that show. She's just, I mean, how can you justify her being there? How could you?
In terms of next season, what would you want to see to bring that show back to its glory days, if it can even be brought?
Definitely bring back Tamara and Vicky. I mean, those two are the pioneers. They're the ones that created the success of the show, and it has not been the same. It's not the same without them. Not that I'm watching, I'm only seeing clips here and there, but yeah, to me, that seems to would really fix the issues that they're having now.
And before we go, this is, I mean, I know I didn't even get a, you definitely have to come back, because I have more questions that I can do for like about 4 more episodes. But New York, going into New York, and obviously we're going to have some new cast members. What are you thinking about the new direction, or the somewhat new direction? How do you feel about it? And are you hearing anything crazy about it?
Not hearing anything too crazy. I just hate the fact that I feel personally, I like the fact they're bringing on Black women. You know, Bershawn is starting, Ebony's coming on, and I'm hearing Ebony is bringing it too. I want it to be organic. Any interactions they have with the cast, it has to be organic. I just don't want to feel as a viewer and, you know, a blogger that they're bringing these women on to force some sort of diversity on the show. It needs to be organic interactions, and it needs to feel right for me. I'm happy to see women of color on my screen. Definitely happy. That's a wonderful thing. But I don't want to feel like they're just doing it because of, you know, it's the day and age of Black Lives Matter type of thing.
Right. Yeah. And I wondered the same thing too. I was kind of like, you know, I feel like amazing casting choices. Right. I guess because it was in light of who was still there.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, how are they going to relate to a Ramona, or, you know, when they had such issues relating to Leah the previous season, and Leah was probably just sort of like an opening the door to, like, I mean, listen, you know, even as a white girl on the show, she just had a different vibe from them, and they had a hard enough time with that.
Yeah. Ebony is more uptown. Ebony is more Upper West Side, though. Leah is very downtown, Alphabet City, Lower East Side kind of person. And I think that was a divide for them. You know, they're very she bougie type of women, especially Ramona, right? She can put on some airs about herself. You know, she's the queen of hoity-toity. But so I think that was more of the divide, more of the issue with those ladies. Well, it'll be pretty interesting to see, though, how things play out. Like, for me, it has to feel organic. It has to feel natural. You know, they have to mesh with this cast for it to work. And I'm hoping it does, because it's just a beautiful thing to have women of color on that show.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing when you have a variety of different types of women, because that's a reflection of the world that we actually live in.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Yep.
Monica, thank you so much for making time to chat with me. I have so much love for you, and I just am so grateful that you had the time to stop by and spill a little bit of tea with us. Do you have any parting words, or can you tell people where they can find all of your socials?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I feel honored. You're big time now, Richie, and I'm just so proud of everything you're doing on YouTube and your, personal life, your professional life. You're just so wonderful. You're a bright light in a dark industry, really and truly. So thank you. I feel honored to be here. We have to do this again. I mean, I had so much fun. This is awesome. Folks, you can find me at allaboutthetea.com. That's the website. That's the blog. You can also find me on Instagram at allaboutthetea.
There you have it. Monica, thank you so much. Skye Squad, listen, y'all know what's up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell button and make sure to follow All About the Tea on YouTube as well. We recap episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac right now every Monday at 3 p.m.
All right. Bye, y'all. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.